probably going to tell me about it, right? So it's all good.
Hey, Shannon.
So, like I said, this is a typical somebody that might be coming into your salon nowadays, all right? Very shattered fringe, and also their face framing layers, and then but a lot of back, all right? Because that's one thing that we know is that people's hair grows a lot back and is very much stronger back there, and a lot of our highlighted clients are probably coming in with a little bit of breakage right into their front. All right, so I'm gonna show you first how I would deal with this. So Mario, if you wanna come around and look at this. You guys see this right here? There's a lot of choppiness going on, and then you see a strong, it's almost like two layers, one here and then her perimeter back here, all right? So how I control the perimeter, and I don't know, we're gonna talk about this, we're gonna discuss this, is that we might do a fringe on her, just do a little curtain fringe on her, and I'll show you guys how we cut that. But I'm gonna be taking her hair, and I'm gonna section it from basically where her fringe would lie, is basically where the comb starts to bend. That's as far as you can go back to the fringe, all right? I'm gonna take this at a diagonal back section. Margo, if you wanna come back over here. And I'm gonna take a diagonal back to the ear, to the back of the ear. And
Hi from the Netherlands.
Who is it?
Hi from the Netherlands.
Netherlands, awesome. So I'm gonna section this out, and as you can see, that's her front fringe area. That's basically all you can work with, all right? We're gonna be correcting this, and we're gonna be doing the exact same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna walk in front of you. I'm gonna take another subsection of diagonal back on her left side, and I'm gonna section that out too. So these are the two sections that I'm gonna be working with primarily for her fringe area, all right? So take a section that I can control in my fingers. And what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna start elevating. When you start elevating hair up like this, it's gonna be much softer, right? We're also gonna be talking about the four different principles of hair cutting, all right? So a lot of people will be like, you know, I need a class, I need a class, I need a class. And they're like, you know, they want to make hair cutting overly difficult, all right? And I don't even know if overly is a word that I said. But in the reality of it, there's only 4 different haircuts, you guys. There's a blunt 0 degree, 0 weight haircut, which is a very blunt line. And then we have graduation, and then we have layering, and then we have disconnection, all right? And I'm gonna be going through at least 3 of those different principles to be able to cut this haircut, okay? So here, you see my previous guide. I'm just gonna cut it down, and I'm just gonna connect all of this. And as you can see, it's very blunt here, and we're gonna get that taken care of. But like I said, as I elevate up, this is gonna create a much softer fringe. So lots of times when you come down here and you cut down here, it's just gonna be that blunt line, and it's gonna be very heavy, but if you guys elevate it up, it can be much softer. Go ahead.
All right, so Shannon has a question. Yes. Are you going to request them to shampoo and prep it a certain way prior to arrival?
Yes.
When we have our clients come back into the salon?
Totally. So I'm gonna make sure that all of our clients that come in and see me, I'm gonna be doing their cutting first no matter what, all right? So lots of times when I have them come in, the situational part of it is that I'll be doing the color first, but now for the reality of, because we're not gonna be blow drying hair in the salon, I'm gonna be doing their cuts first. So I'm gonna make sure that to tell them all that they need to have: fresh, clean hair that was shampooed and conditioned, and that they took a brush through at least when they were blow drying it, okay? So,
also, prior to opening, we'll probably suggest, you know, we're doing curbside pickup, so we'll probably suggest to maybe have a clarifying shampoo. So it's a great way to get like a little retail sale out of it as well.
Totally. So going through and finishing this side of the fringe, and I'm just going to clean it up a little bit by freehanding it. And this is the great thing about dry hair, is that it's going to lay as it lives, okay? So with wet hair, we all know that wet hair lies, all right? Think about that. Dry hair does not lie, though. It tells you exactly where it's going to live, okay? So now I'm going to go through and do the other side. I'm going to take a little bit of the previous section that I did on the other side of the head, and I'm going to use that as my guide, okay? Take that, I'm going to elevate that up. Now I can go through here, I'm going to show you here, and I can cut this way, but I want to make sure that I'm cutting from my guide to my ending spot, all right? So I'm going to go through here, elevate it, I'm going to come through here, put my wrist right on top of my other wrist, and I'm going to cut down.
I love that trick.
It's a good trick. It's a little bit difficult to do at first, you guys, but it's a little bit of practice. It's easy as cake, all right? So, or pie, whichever one you like to eat. Do it again. I'm going to put my wrist right on top of my other wrist, making sure I find my guide, and I'm going to cut all the way down. And if you see when I'm cutting there, I'm cutting more on the inside of my shears, all right? This is more or less called the axis of the shear. Why it's called the axis is because where the shears meet right at the beginning, okay? And typically, you guys, because these are the parts of the shears that are the least used, they're the sharpest. So you don't have to tear through the hair, but you can do little baby cuts to get through that section.
Got Leah Freeman in the house.
Hey, Leah, you better be nice to me. Once again, I'm going to come through here, wrist on top of wrist, find my guide, and I'm using the axis of the shear to cut down my fringe. Make sure that that looks even. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. Like I said, it's on dry hair, and dry hair doesn't lie, so it's going to be living exactly how it would be in real life, all right? So if you can see from the front, Margot, on how we connect both of those sides of the fringe and the face framing. All right, so I'm going to drop the two rested sections, and I'm going to be using, you guys, this beginning where I started, where my fringe was. I'm going to be using that as my guideline then for the rest of my layering of my hair. What's that? So, comb everything back here, and you'll see I kind of do things in a different manner, all right? I like to work from layers to graduation, and then meeting my graduation and my layers together, okay? That's how I do typically most of my long layer cuts, okay? So, bring this up together here. I'm gonna do a slight mohawk right in between both sides of my part. And I can find it right there. Now, I would typically, when I first started doing hair, I would go in from here on this side because this is my comfortable side, and meet my guideline to where I want for a long layer. But I've found out that if you bring this side up and you move then to the other side, then you can cut, especially because I'm right-handed, you can cut them from your guideline to where you want it to end. So right now I'm doing a concave layered guideline. You see I'm over directly almost to the front. You can see that straight up and down. I'm going to drop that out. Anybody else have any other questions? What's going on? Everybody feeling good? The weather's getting nicer, so that's nice.
Again, we got Mark Dolan here in Minneapolis. What are you showing us, Mark?
I'm showing you guys a modern mid-length layered haircut. When I say mid-length, anything from, you know, what would be typically very, very, very long hair to not a bob. So going through here, and I'm going to be doing deep point cuts. If you guys are just joining me, I'm doing this on dry hair, and the one reason why I'm doing this on dry hair is because we, in Minneapolis at least, and we at Evolution here, when we get back to doing hair, we're going to be doing all dry hair cutting, okay? Nobody's going to be getting washed or shampooed, unless it's getting color, but they're all getting it dry cut and not blown dry to go home.
Oh, it snowed in Montana today. You know, actually, I'm kind of scared that it might freeze tonight and I have to bring my plants in. So it's sunny, but it's still cold.
You guys see as I'm doing this, one thing that's also nice about doing it on dry hair is that you can also determine your guideline and your layering, but you can also at the same time do some texturizing, okay? So you can eliminate 2 steps. You can eliminate 1 step out of the other, okay? So I'm going through here, you guys, in pie sections, elevating and finding my guideline. This is my guideline right here. And I'm taking it and I'm doing deep point cuts while creating my layers, but also texturizing at the exact same time.
Leah, why are you saying why? What question is that to?
Say that again?
Leah asked why, but I'm not sure what question that's to.
Why am I so cool, Leah? I don't know. You've known me for a while. How cool am I? So, going through my last section here, I'm going to bring this up.
So the question was, why no blow drying? It's just something that, well, I'll let Mark take over on that. So no blow drying, I guess, is just something that the owners here at Evolution have decided it's going to help cut the time in the salon and also not be blowing around if the virus was in here as much. So.
Yeah, and it's also for us to be getting back, you know, like, I think about it as like, you know, there's going to be phases. Everybody's got phases in their own state about how they're opening, what can be open and what can't be open. I think in the salon too, we're gonna phase things out too, as in like, you know, phase 1 for a period of time. We're not going to be doing any blow drying. We're going to be doing a more or less essential work. And so we're going to be doing that first, and then there'll probably be a phase 2 of we'll start implementing our blow drying, and then other services like we're not right now going to be doing extension work right now, okay? Because we feel like that's not an essential part of what people need to get done right now. So that might come in like phase 3, you know? So, you know, I know there's a lot of people out there, and this is a good tip for you guys stylists if you guys do extensions. You know what Marlo did was that she made a video, you guys, to show people how to remove their extensions, okay? And she sent it out to her clients, and so how they could personally actually remove like tape ends and stuff like that, okay? So if you guys are ever having questions about that, that's a very good idea that I thought you came up with.
Also, Leah, we are not offering a discount because when our clients come into the salon, they are paying for the haircut and the style is just a treat. So as of right now, we're not offering a discount to haircuts. Yeah, that's the answer to that.
Okay, you guys, this is all that I created my layering first, all right? So everything was based off of my front part of my fringe, and I did a concave layering, which is gonna keep longer length towards the back, okay? Now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna create my, almost like what I call with my graduation, all right? So I'm gonna go through here and go completely apart. The part would be directly in the back, all right, of the head. And I'll move this back over for you. And all I'm gonna do is connect what I see from my perimeter, which you guys have noticed that I have not cut my perimeter at all. There's a reason for that, and I'll tell you why. But my perimeter would be basically right here, okay? I'm gonna connect that then to my layering up here. Grab this out. And like I said, the advantages of having to do it on dry hair is that you can knock out a big section, and then you can also do some texturizing. And you can see that basically how I'm cutting this, I'm not doing straight lines. I'm doing some big cutting right like here. Well, what do I call this one? Chipping.
Chipping, point cutting.
Point cutting, chipping, point cutting. So, did this first, and now I'm gonna meet it up to the rest of the layering. So I go top, middle, and then I meet them two at a 45-degree angle like this, okay?
So just softly round layering it,
Yep,
essentially.
soft, round layers, and also I'm being able to texturize at the same time. So, I'm gonna move to the left, more to the left side of her head. Find where that perimeter is, right there, and I'm gonna be cutting point cuts and meeting it to my section up here, which is my layering that I did. And then I'm going to be bringing it up at a 45-degree angle and meeting those two sections.
Would you approach curly hair the same way?
Yes and no. I mean, it can be completely different. I mean, I feel like there's different stages of, or different, there's different curls to people's hair, okay? So if it was a client that just had curly hair, but she wears, I always ask my clients, what do they typically do? Do they wear their hair curly 100%, 75%, 50%? Most of them say, well, I let it, I usually straighten it and then I wear it natural, like every now and then. And if somebody that says every now and then, I would approach this haircut the exact same way, right? But somebody who says that they wear their hair curly 100% of the time, I would probably do it in a different way, just a little bit more freer way where I would take their individual curls and cut them each individually because they usually live like that. All right, going back towards the left side of the head, and you can see this. See that? And I'm directing everything back to the back of her ear because I want to make sure, maintain that length that covers. We don't want to get into that section of her fringe, all right? And we don't want to disturb that. Bring it up in the median.
So that's a good point with the curly hair too. Obviously, we're going to have to put in a little more work in contacting our clients before they come into the salon since we are not shampooing them. And if it is a curly girl that does flat iron her hair once in a while, we're going to want to have her come in with it blown out. And if it's a curly girl that wears her hair curly 100% of the time, she's going to need to come in with it curly, how she would style it every day.
So I just want to let you guys know that because this girl before today, she had a bunch of braids left in her hair. So I had to shampoo and condition her hair. And what I use typically on pretty much 90% of my clients from going from wet to dry, I like to use a combination of our keratin healing oil or our defrizz cream. I'm using our defrizz cream because I'm doing a dry cut. Why I like to use this is that it makes sure that there's no flyaways and there's not as much static, all right, when you're doing the hair. I love using our design foam because it's going to give me that light airiness, but also a little bit of, I'm going to be able to manipulate the hair more or less and give her some air underneath it when I use it. Margot told me a really good trick because of doing more dry haircuts. And because, one of the biggest questions is how do you decrease on the static, all right? So this is our smooth down spray right here, okay? If you miss that on a paddle brush or whatever brush you're using, okay, and brush out the hair with it, after it's dry, it'll help maintain the less static, all right? So this is a really cool trick that I just learned from Margot. Margot, give yourself a hand.
I like it because I love the keratin healing oil to help with static as well, but sometimes when you're dry cutting hair, you don't want to put that oil. I mean, the oil does dissipate in your hair fairly quickly, but this is just a way to not get your hands dirty. Quickly put it on your brush it into the hair.
Yeah.
Boom.
So,
no more static.
All right, so moving on to the right side of the head. That's my perimeter, I don't want to touch. Going through, doing deep point cuts. And then I'm going to put it up at 45 degrees to meet the layering that I did. Getting towards where it is before her ear, so I want to make sure that I over direct everything to the back of her ear.
What's up, Italy?
Italia. I want to go wherever the powers that be to get me to Italy. I want to go.
Judy, are you talking about missed the name of the product? That was our Keratin Smooth Down Spray.
Okay, so that is basically taking care of the layering. And if you think about it, I also did some graduating because everything from layering, if you can make me big, Marlo. I think about layering.
It's kind of hard to do.
Alright, I know, I'm not, shut up. Alright, so everything in layering, I think about this, alright? Where my hands are on both sides, and they go up to here, everything that you cut within this space is layering, okay? Anything that you cut within this space all the way down is graduating, all right? And when we're layering, we're removing weight. And when we're graduating, we're building weight, all right? So we did basically 2 different principles of haircutting just on this one haircut. And now we're gonna do a third one. We're gonna actually do the perimeter. And why I like to do the perimeter last at times is because I don't like to box myself in. Once I feel like you put in that perimeter, your layers and your graduation is dependent on that perimeter that you put in, that you already punched in. So I typically will do my haircuts and leave my perimeter out towards the end to see where I feel like it should lay, all right? Now, if somebody has an exact cut in mind of like where they want it to be, I mean, yes, you could put it in first, but I always tell my clients typically is like, you know, I like to see where things live, and especially for hair length in general, as in like what is determined by what their face frame is or what they are individually, okay? So I can customize the haircut to them more that way. And typically clients like hearing that because then they say, oh, you're not giving me the same haircut as you're giving everybody else, okay? So if you can personalize haircuts a bit more, clients will definitely appreciate it, right? So I'm taking a section out here to be able to create my perimeter, and as you can see here, this is that beautiful face frame that we've already cut in here. And so she's got a lot of hair, so I'm going to divide this into at least 2 sections. I'm going to come over, yeah. Get that out of the way.
Let's turn her so that way the light is shining on her.
Okay, yeah, let's turn her. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna cut her perimeter, and what I'm looking for is, I also want to know where, so I'm looking at the sides of her hair, and like I said, this girl already had a mullet because, you know, she'd already been cutting her own hair, and the only thing that she could get at was from the front, all right? So I'm looking to see where I can connect that mullet, basically, that fringe, that face frame, and then where I connect the rest of the hair. So I'm gonna go about here, okay? So I'm gonna be doing complete, no tension, no over direction, no elevation, perimeter, using just my comb and my shears, not using my fingers.
Why are you not using your fingers, Mark?
I'm not using my fingers because I want to make sure that there's no graduation in this hair right here, all right? So this is almost a combination because a lot of people are still doing very blunt cuts, right? But I'm also seeing a lot of shades out there coming back, all right? So this is almost a combination of that blunt cut and that shade, because there's a lot of layering and graduation going on in here. But I want to make sure that her perimeter is very, very strong. So she's got a lot of hair going on right here. One thing that I'll do right at this moment is I will take up, just to be able to texturize this section, I'll take the whole hair and put it completely vertical. Right here, you guys, you can see here, that is her perimeter, right? So we're just gonna do some deep point cutting, but making sure we do not go into the perimeter. This will then knock out and give you some nice texturizing as you move forward with the haircut. I'm gonna do this now on this side, but when I get to this side over here, as you can see, I'm not rounding it and bringing it up to the head. I'm actually over directing it straight back. And so you'll be cutting typically less hair over here because you don't want to lose that edge, right? You don't want to start going into her face framing.
All right, so Catherine's got a great question. Would you have the client tilt their head forward or have them sit up straight and freehand the perimeter?
It's a very good question. I typically do not have clients tilt their head because the reason why I don't is because when you cut somebody's hair like this, these muscles back here do different things than when they lay straight like this, okay? So when I'm cutting hair like this, these muscles straighten out, and when they come like this, they relax more, okay? So the hair is gonna completely live differently, okay? So I want to cut their hair exactly as they are looking at people, right? What I will typically do then afterwards though, is that I will have them, after I'm done with the perimeter, I will have them do a slight bend in their head, and then completely comb out the rest there, and if I see anything that's jetting out, I'll clean that up, all right? But I like to do everything first as how they live, how they would look at you and talk to you in the rest of the world. Because most people don't walk around living and talking to people like this.
No. It's actually kind of funny. So me and Mark have been walking around the lake a lot, and we were walking behind somebody who had a haircut that was done. It was probably, pretty similar to this haircut. But then she had this underneath layering that was popping out as she was looking down at her phone. So I think that's a good tip to definitely in the end tilt their head down and cut off that extra hair.
Yeah. So do it afterwards. So I typically like to do it afterwards, and literally just so you can see that you're cutting just what needs to be cut. Because typically when you cut down like this, and you could do the whole haircut like that, once they come up like this, there's many things that you'll need to correct. Okay. Next section. Using my previous guide, I'm going to cut perimeter.
I think one good thing that Mark has taught me too is to always get at eye level. So as you can see, he's kneeling down, so that way he's at eye level, especially with those longer lengths.
Yeah. Okay, so this section 2, we're just going to go up completely vertical with it and do some deep pointing. And you can see I'm doing it at a little bit more of an angle. If I was to go straight down, I'm going to be taking out less hair and it's going to be much softer, but I want it to be some deep point cuts that I don't have to do a lot of it. I just need to do some of it, but it's going to create a lot of texture for you to be able to knock out that very heavy perimeter line. So you can see, I just did 5 cuts on each side of that. Bring this up again, making sure that I'm making sure that I'm over directing towards the back and not rounding with the head. This will be my last section. And there shouldn't be a lot to cut here. You can see a little bit right there that I need to cut. Same thing here on this side. And that's the perimeter. To show you then, it's a little bit of texturizing that I'll do. I'll take the section straight out from the head. And I like to typically work within basically where the occipital is, all the way to the top layering. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of texturizing, a little of what I call an interior texturizing. Why I call it interior is because I'm cutting into the inside of the hair, not on top of the hair. And when you do this, you're gonna get a lot more movement within this haircut because it is a pretty blunt, wild, texturized, and layered haircut, but it is pretty blunt in some areas, right? And I typically don't do anything beyond the ear. because there's not a lot of hair in front of the ear. And if you guys watch while I'm doing this, I'm actually cutting on the way out. It looks like that I'm cutting on the way in, but I'm actually cutting on the way out. And I'm just taking little strokes and cutting. I'm not cutting though on the way in. If you cut on the way out, you'll make sure that you're ensuring the integrity of that cuticle, okay? Because you don't want to go in there and aggressively cut it on the way in. I hope everybody is doing okay. This is a crazy time. Hopefully everybody has a great quarantine buddy. Mine's all right. No, she's been amazing. Margot and I are actually quarantine buddies. I don't know if everybody knows, but it's definitely a savior to have somebody that you can not want to kill at home.
Speak for yourself.
Speak for myself.
Just kidding. So we have a question. Yeah. Jen is asking, does that work for hair that tends to be frizzy?
Oh, totally. Yes, yes. And the thing about it is that here, Jen, and if you're like, just to show you, when you do this technique, you don't have to go as fast as I do, all right? You can literally just go, drop off that hair. If you want to be more careful, but you know, this girl has a ton of hair, so that's why I'm being able to go a little bit more aggressive and a little bit faster with it, okay?
I actually have a question about that technique. So would you, when you're using the apex of your shears, like is that just notching out pieces of hair and not slide cutting, or is there a little bit of slide cutting? Okay.
It really isn't, okay? I mean, it's a little bit faster, but it's not slide cutting, all right? I'm not a huge fan of slide cutting because, to be honest, most people don't do it right. That's basically the biggest reason why. And it's hard to watch somebody who slide cuts and you just want to like be like, ooh, it's almost like nails on a chalkboard for me, okay?
Just like tearing the cuticle
tearing
right
the
open.
Cuticle apart, exactly, yeah. All right, guys, so that's the basis of my haircut, okay? And should we do a little, you think we should do a little fringe?
What do you guys think? Should he do a fringe? I think he should do a fringe.
Is that a yes? No?
Yeah, let's do a fringe.
Let's do a fringe. Okay. We're gonna find where her fringe lies. Like I said, that is typically, if this is like a basically, for anybody who, if you're having trouble where to figure out where the fringe lives, this is a basis of it, all right? Wherever you put a comb on top of somebody's head, it's wherever that starts to round, that's the furthest you can go back, okay? So that section then to where the recession hits on both sides of the part, that is basically where the fringe lives. So obviously on a mannequin, it's really weird. The fringe, because their hairline is completely different. So I'm gonna just knock that section out over there, and then I'm gonna do the same thing over here. So find the round of her head right there, and then find the recession. There we go.
People are all about the fringe.
All about the fringe, right?
Hi, Raven. Miss you.
Hey, Raven. Artistic team member buddy. Okay. Oh, Raven, has your new salon open yet? I don't know if you guys all know Raven. She's a salon owner in Salt Lake City, Utah. And she's just doing some big renovations, making a brand new salon, basically. Okay, so this is typically where the fringe lives, all right? Like I said, it's where the head rounds in the front, and then also to the recession on both parts. Did she answer?
Yep, she's open.
She's open.
That's awesome. Good for you, girl.
All right, so I'm gonna do like more of a sweeping fringe, like more of a curtain fringe. So what I like to do is I like to take a little section in between both of her parts. It's almost like a triangle section, okay? And I'm gonna see where I want this fringe lives. I'm gonna do it probably about right at about her nose, right? This is the bridge of her nose right there, okay? So I'm gonna comb this up. And what I do is that I comb it straight up And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do an undercut, but I'm gonna do it at an angle. You guys see what the angle of my shears are? This is gonna create an undercut for me, okay? Now, if we think about that, what that's gonna do then is that because of the undercut, it's gonna automatically want to start to push hair either one way or the other way, okay? So lots of times when we see those beautiful curtain fringes, but people are like, man, they just like lay straight down, okay? That's because they haven't been given the correct undercut underneath. So right now, I can literally maneuver this on both sides, and I can start to angle where it wants to live on both sides because I gave it that softness. It's basically like giving it a graduation, but an undercut of it, okay? So that's my section. I'm gonna do this straight across. Actually, I do it the way that, I'll do it the way that Matt done. So I'm gonna bring all this straight up, you guys. And as you can see, that's my guideline right there. Is right here. And I'm just gonna go through here and start taking out the hair, okay? And the reason why I do this is if you go straight across here, okay? But I'm gonna do a little bit of an angle. But even if you do it straight across, because of how the hair lives, it's going to naturally want to keep that face framing angle, okay? And we all learn from people, and I learned this from Mr. Matt Sween. At least this portion of it. And then I'm just going to go in through here and make it a little bit softer. And as you can see, that angle is already still there. Do it on this side here.
Go over here.
Bring it straight up, and you guys, that right there is my guideline. It's a little scary, I know, but it was when I first tried it too, because I'm like, dang, I'm taking away all that hair.
Good time to practice on mannequins.
Good time to practice on mannequins. Especially, like I said, it's a good time to practice your dry cutting. Going through here then, make it a little bit softer.
So we have a lot of new people that joined on.
Okay.
So why don't you tell us what we're doing here?
Okay, so I did you guys a mid-length, I would say modern, I called it a modern layer haircut, to be honest though. I mean, it's just a cross between graduation and layering, okay? But right now what I'm doing, I'm going in through here because we were putting a little bit of a fringe into Miss Irene here. I'm gonna see how it lives after this. I'm just gonna do a little bit of texturizing within this. Ooh, I almost dropped my shears. Okay, now that's good.
It looks great.
All right, so let me go over through, do a quick recap of what I did before I start curling her. I created her face frame first, you guys, and I talked a little bit about how we created that because lots of people, when they come off of this, that are at home, they're going to be cutting their own hair, and the only hair that they're really going to be cutting is the front because they can't do anything with the back, right? So just like with them and Irene here, they both will probably come back with lots. You'll see, you guys are going to see a lot of mullets, right, when you get back in the salon, all right? So making sure that we figure out how to maneuver around that. I did some face framing, and then we used her face framing to create her layers. And then we did some graduation. So we connected her layers to some graduation. We took everything in the back out completely horizontal and cut it to meet the layers. And then we took everything in the middle to meet each other, okay? That's how we created this haircut. Just went in through and did a little bit. The biggest thing is afterwards is that I want to make sure is that I created my perimeter after I did the whole haircut, right? The reason why I did the perimeter last is because I don't like to box myself in. A lot of times I feel like when you create your perimeter first, you box yourself into where your layers are going to live or where your graduation is going to live, okay? So that's why I did that last, and then we just created a little bit of a curtain fringe on her, and I'm just going to do a little bit of curling iron work. And with this type of style, I like to do a very, very kind of like, I would say lived-in curl, right? Just almost like, you know, like, I know that she curled her hair, but I think she did it yesterday type of thing. So I already prepped her from going from wet to dry with our design foam and then also our defrizz cream. Margot here, who's doing the camel work, she gave a great tip on if you guys are doing your dry cuts and you are getting a lot of static buildup. One thing you can do is you can take our smooth down spray, which is right here. You can mist it over your paddle brush or whatever brush you're using and just lightly brush through the hair, and that'll make sure to keep all those flyaways and all that static gone while you do that dry haircut.
Also, since we at our salon are going to have people when we reopen come back in with dry hair so that we can do dry cutting, we're not doing any blow drying, that smooth down spray is going to help prep the hair for the thermal protection if we are going to be doing any iron work. It's very important to still use thermal protection even your second day styling.
So, lots of people always have questions on how to style the fringe area. I'm going to show you guys after I do these layers here, and you can see what I do is I go in with this is my 1 1/4 Marcel iron. The reason why I like using the 1 1/4 is kind of like the universal size. If you had to go to a wedding and you could only bring one iron, I would say you should bring the 1 1/4, okay? So going in through here, and as you see, I'll do one revolution very fast. Right at the base, I'll drop that out, keep moving down the iron, drop that out. And the biggest thing about this is that you see how I have tension still within the iron? That's gonna make sure that you don't get little ringlets, okay? Now here is her fringe area here. I'm gonna take my iron, just do a little flip the other way as I come through here, and I'm gonna do this very fast. I'm gonna slide it out of the iron, okay? Do you guys see that?
Oh, that was a great trick, Mark.
That was a great trick, huh?
Curtain fringe is looking good. I feel like this is going to be great for those people that think they want to shag, but like you don't want to cut off all the hair. They're like, why don't we just try with a fringe and some layers? How about that?
Yep. Now, whenever I curl hair, I like to do it where I go from one side to the other side, and then I like to finish the back last, because I really want to concentrate and make sure that I get these two sides with the even heat, and also make sure that these two sides look really good before I get to the back.
Oh, Sarah wants a curtain fringe now.
Sarah.
Alexander.
Sarah, your hair's looking good actually within quarantine season.
Yeah. I think curtain fringe would look good on you.
Why don't you have Michael give you one? Alright. Getting through here, and you can see, guys, I do mostly on both sides of the head. I do mostly curl away from the face. You can do whatever you want, but that's just me. I typically do curl away from the face. Anybody have any questions or anything that they want to tell me? Like you miss me?
Mark needs love.
I need
Lots.
love.
He needs lots of love.
Yeah.
My love coupons are running out.
Is everybody open? Anybody else open to do hair right now? Anybody closed like us? I heard you guys from Sarah Mack, just so you guys know, like how things are. They are probably going to be in the phase 3 of reopening, which means that they will not be able to do hair in the salon until the end of summer.
California, he's talking about.
California, exactly. So that could be anywhere from the end of July to the middle of August, I'm assuming, you know. All right, so within this fringe, I want to make sure that I do exactly what I did on that side. So I'm going to go through here. See that?
Beautiful. So Florida just opened this week, still closed in Minnesota. Yeah, I feel ya. North Carolina, possibly till the end of May.
Okay.
Till the end of May.
Yeah.
That's where we're thinking we'll probably be too.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see here, this is where, I mean, now that I'm curling here, you guys can see where the shade part of this, it's like there's a lot of layering going on, but it's also very healthy and heavy, where it looks like she's got a ton of hair, but just in the way that we cut it, where we don't give it a, that's why I'm calling these my modern mid-length hair. So it's not a complete shave, and it's also not a complete blunt haircut like, you know, that we've been seeing for the last 3 years, you know? Because I know that shaves are coming back really, really hard, and Margot's right. She's saying how this is a great way to actually maybe introduce somebody who would want more texture or layers in their hair, but still making them feel like they still have hair. Because that's a lot of things. I see all these shaves, and it's just like, whoa, you overshave the shave, you know?
Lindsay from Alberta says, thank you, it's a pleasure. Thanks for the new tips. And their salon is still closed.
Oh, I'm supposed to, I was supposed to be in Canada, I think, about a month ago. I don't know what you guys miss the most, but right now I miss the traveling. I miss meeting people, I miss traveling, and believe it or not, I miss airports. I actually love airports. But yeah, I miss a lot of things. And I miss going to a bar. Anybody else miss going to a bar? You know? That's how I feel.
Got anything for anxiety? Well, girl, I don't know. You know, for me, get outside. I've been exercising a lot. You got this. Just stay positive. Opening the 15th. That's only a couple days away, so that's awesome.
Yeah, I just want to tell people also is like the biggest, because I was just watching the news today. I know I'm a news watcher, but I've been seeing these stories about, like, I just saw this ice cream shop in Massachusetts just opened up. And they had a deal where basically, you know, you could get ice cream, but they wanted you to pre-order an hour ahead of time, just so they had it ready for you. Lots of people didn't do that, they just showed up. And it turned into a mob scene where a bunch of people were yelling at the people that were working there. Like the 17-year-old girls that were working there, all broke down because all of these people were just being mean and not understanding of the situation of just opening up. And I think that we should really need to think about is that we're all in the same boat, all right? So being mean to each other or being, you know, not friendly with each other is gonna get us nowhere within this country, all right? So whatever people's political view is here or whatever it is over there, it's just that we are all doing this and struggling in different ways. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not that worried monetarily wise, but I think a lot of people are. I mean, I know a lot of people are, you know? So everybody's going through different struggles with this, so we have to be compassionate and know that everybody's handling this different, okay?
Lead with love. Amy says, can you come teach a class in Chicago? That's so close, too.
I would love to teach a class in Chicago. I could probably couple that in with when I go teach at Leah Freeman's salon at some point. So
Amy, just contact your brand consultant and
What I'm doing right now, I'm just taking our dry texture spray. I don't know if you can see it. And I like to take each individual curl and spray it right at the base, okay? And now you'll see from the front here, when I touch her fringe, I'm just gonna touch it like that. I'm just gonna spray it into the fringe like that. And I like to get my, whenever I work with fringes, I like to get my fingers in there and really kind of grind it in there. So I'm gonna spray it around everywhere. I'm gonna have her turn her head over, do her best Beyonce.
Oh, Amy's only 10 minutes from Leah's salon.
Well, there you go. And I'm gonna have her whip it like she means it.
Babe. Look at her.
And you guys can see that curtain fringe, how it just opens up. And like I said, doing that undercut right at the forefront of it, it's gonna make that hair want to go to one side more than the other, okay? So if you ever get that, if you ever wanting to start that type of fringe, make sure you just do a little undercut with it and it'll automatically push the hair to one side or the other.
People love it.
All right, what are you guys thinking?
Meow, Sarah says. Yeah, I love that.
Love it?
I love that.
Awesome. Well, you guys, that's about my time. I want to thank everybody for being on here. I want to thank Lanza Healing Hair Care. You guys, Lanza is so supportive of us, and they're going to be so supportive of you guys once we get through this. Doing all these educations every single day has been a tremendous help, I know, for a lot of people, not just to keep up with their skills, but also to keep up with their how mentally challenging times these can be. Okay, so really give a shout out to making sure that you're talking to your brand consultants and making sure you're still in touch with your sales consultants, because they are there for you. That's all they want to do. They're ready to be back in this game with you. So I thank you guys. I want to thank Margot Therese. Margot, what's your Instagram? Margot.
It's Margot.Therese, Trese1.
So you guys make sure that you follow her. Make sure that you follow me, Mark Dolan 2, and we will see you guys very, very soon, okay?
Bye, guys. And we'll have Mark throw up an after picture too.
Yes.
Send it to Michael. So
exactly. We'll get an after picture of this, okay? Thanks, guys.